How I carried regret of befriending a married woman, a must-watch for bachelor and youths. In the ancient kingdom of Kajara, where desert winds carried secrets across golden dunes and market stalls gleamed with spices and silk, lived a young merchant named Kwame. Unlike other apprentices who spent their days hauling sacks of grain, Kwame's silver tongue had earned him the honored position of managing his master's finest stall in the grand marketplace. Among his regular visitors was Madame Aisha, known throughout the kingdom for her collection of rare perfumes and exotic fabrics. She was married to Ibrahim, one of the kingdom's most powerful traders, whose caravans stretched across 3 kingdoms. Madame Aisha would linger at Kwame's stall, examining his wares with careful attention, sharing stories of distant lands and offering wisdom about the art of trade. As seasons passed, Kwame found himself anticipating Madame Aisha's visits more than any other customers. She brought him special treats, dates stuffed with almonds and drizzled with honey, claiming they were left over from her morning sales. Sometimes she would press extra coins into his palm, insisting that he had undercharged her. "You remind me of myself when I was younger," she would say, her eyes twinkling, so full of dreams and ambition. The wise elderly tea seller across from Kwame's stall would often shake his head, stroking his long gray beard. "Young merchant," he would call out, "remember that the sweetest fruit often hides the bitterest seed. Pride comes before the fall, and some paths, once taken, cannot be untaken." But Kwame was young, and like many young men, he believed his heart knew better than the warnings of his elders. He began meeting Madame Aisha in the evening hours, walking her to her carriage through the winding alleys of the marketplace, their conversations growing longer and more intimate with each passing day. One evening, as they walked beneath the silver light of the moon, Madame Aisha turned to him. "Do you think I'm too old to dream new dreams?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Before Kwame could respond, she continued, "Age is but a number written in sand, easily swept away by the wind of desire." Their friendship blossomed into something forbidden. They began meeting in a secret chamber above an old spice warehouse, where the air was thick with the scent of cinnamon and cardamom. Madame Aisha would bring him elaborate meals prepared by her own hands, and Kwame's fortunes multiplied. His trading profits increased, and his purse grew heavy with gold coins she insisted were his rightful earnings. But in Kajara, secrets had a way of rising to the surface like cream in milk, whether it was a jealous competitor who noticed their lingering glances, or one of Ibrahim's loyal friends who recognized his wife's perfume in the evening air. The truth eventually found its way to Ibrahim's ears. One night, as they sat in their hidden chamber, heavy footsteps thundered up the wooden stairs. A voice like thunder shook the building. "Open this door, or by the ancient gods, I shall break it down." Madame Aisha's face showed only a flicker of fear. "It's Ibrahim," she whispered, rising with the grace of a desert gazelle. "You must flee, but remember, actions born of pride bear fruit in shame." The next few moments passed in a blur. The door burst open, and Ibrahim, a mountain of a man with eyes blazing like hot coals, lunged for Kwame. The young merchant barely escaped, leaving behind his dignity and his prized trading ledger. That night marked the beginning of Kwame's descent. His master hearing of the scandal, dismissed him. No respectable merchant would hire him, and his reputation lay in tatters like a banner shredded by desert winds. Kwame left the grand marketplace, traveling to distant villages to start anew. But a strange pattern emerged in his life, as if the gods themselves were teaching him a lesson in humility. Every time he attempted to build a new life or find love, he discovered betrayal. 3 times he established himself in new markets in the copper-roofed city of Amara, the riverside town of Elosha, and the mountain village of Fafara. And 3 times he found his trust betrayed. In Amara, he courted a copper merchant's daughter named Amara, only to find her in the arms of another trader. In Elosha, his betrothed Erica chose a rival merchant over him. In Fafara, his beloved Fafa broke his heart in the same manner. Each discovery echoed that fateful night with Ibrahim, as if he were destined to relive his shame again and again. Desperate to break free from what he believed to be a curse, Kwame sought wisdom from every corner of the kingdom. He visited holy men in mountain temples, wise women in desert caves, and mysterious hermits who lived in ancient ruins. He fasted during the sacred months, gave alms to the poor, and prayed at every shrine he encountered. His wanderings brought him to a modest temple on the outskirts of a small village. There, he met an old priest who listened to his tale with understanding eyes. The priest burned sacred herbs and anointed Kwame's forehead with oils blessed by moonlight. Your curse, the priest said, is not cast by any person but by your own actions. The gods teach us through patterns until we learn our lessons. You must understand that the pain you feel now is the same pain you once caused another. Only when you truly understand this can you move forward. Taking these words to heart, Kwame settled in the village and began attending the temple regularly. There he met Safia, a young woman who helped tend the temple gardens. She was different from anyone he had known before. Honest, direct, and deeply spiritual. However, as they grew closer, Kwame discovered that she too carried wounds from the past, still entangled with a married man from her former life. This time, instead of running away or succumbing to bitterness, Kwame remembered the priest's words. He recognized that just as he had needed time and understanding to change, so did Safia. He chose to be patient and supportive, helping her find her own path to healing. This final test proved to be the key to Kwame's redemption. By choosing to face the situation with compassion rather than pride or fear, he began to break the cycle that had haunted him. As he helped Safia heal, he found his own healing as well. Years later, Kwame became known not just as a successful merchant, but as a wise man who helped others navigate the complicated paths of the heart. Young traders would seek his counsel, and he would tell them his story as a warning and a lesson. Remember, he would say, his eyes twinkling with hard-won wisdom, that every action creates ripples in the great river of life. What we do to others may return to us many times over, not as punishment, but as teaching. The gods are not cruel. They simply ensure that we learn the lessons we need most deeply. The story of Kwame came to be known as the regret of dating a married woman, and parents would tell it to their children as a lesson about the importance of honoring commitments and treating others' hearts with care. Merchants would share it in their caravans as they traveled across the desert, adding their own embellishments, but always maintaining its core truth that our actions create patterns that follow us until we learn to break them with wisdom and compassion. In the end, it wasn't the prayers or the fasting or the sacred oils that broke Kwame's curse. It was his willingness to face his own past with honesty and help another person heal from similar wounds. The gods, it seemed, had a sense of poetry in their justice, teaching him through reflection what he could not learn through mere punishment. Some say that Madam Aisha and Ibrahim eventually reconciled, their love stronger for having been tested. Others claim that she became a wandering merchant, trading in wisdom rather than perfumes and silks. As for Kwame and Safia, they built a life together based on truth and understanding. Their love deeper for having grown from shared healing rather than blind passion. In the grand marketplace of Kajara, merchants still point out the old spice warehouse to their apprentices, reminding them that every choice they make plants seeds that will one day bear fruit, whether bitter or sweet. And so the tale ends, as all good tales must, with a reminder that the greatest journeys are not those that take us across deserts and mountains, but those that lead us to understanding our own hearts and the hearts of others.